before the start of the season, when KD and Kyrie were about to team up, Kyrie said, "Finally, I have a teammate that I can throw the ball to at the in the dying minutes and can trust him to make a shot." Yesterday, Kyrie Irving had a open three-pointer.
It was an uncontested three, let's just call it that.
The rebound fell. It didn't go in. The rebound
Yeah.
fell to Kevin Durant,
Mm.
who pulled up his trademark pull-up shot, and that missed as well in the dying minutes. If one of them had gone in, Brooklyn would have won, and we would not be talking about this. But they didn't.
Yeah.
And then now they stand on a 3-4 record, having
Yeah.
lost 4 of the last 5 games. What's happened to the Brooklyn Nets? Kind of trouble brewing. This team kind of reminds me of the Clippers from last season.
Yeah, they're probably a little worse off at this stage though, because the Clippers, at least throughout the regular season, every time they had Paul George and Kawhi line up, they looked special. In the regular season, for sure, they didn't have that many games with both of them playing in peak form. But whenever they lined up together and started together, they looked spectacular. With Brooklyn, it's almost like a hit and miss. And what's even more troublesome is it's not that Kevin Durant isn't firing. It's not that Kyrie isn't firing or that they both together aren't coming. They're combining for a lot of points and they're still losing.
Yep.
Which then means either there is a deficit of a third scorer or a collective third scorer, so to speak, or your defense sucks, or both. Right? Logically, there's really nothing else that can contribute if both your superstars are firing. Like we saw this with Kawhi and PG, LeBron and AD. If both your superstars get buckets and you still lose, there's something woefully wrong with your defense, or there's no third scorer on your team. Like you're waiting for a Kuzma or one of these guys, right? With Brooklyn, first of all, you couldn't have got 2 cleaner looks for the game winner, right? I mean,
True.
you live for this moment, and both of these guys are clutch. It's not like they have a history of failing big moments.
Yep.
But it happens. It happens, and sometimes these things get blown way out of proportion, right? They miss 2 open shots, yes, all right. But there's a bigger problem in Brooklyn. They're not going to miss too many of those. The next time that comes up, one of those is going in and they get the W. But are they going to get to that position? First, turnovers, right? And this is a big time problem. And turnovers are often an indication of when players of this caliber are giving up way more turnovers than they usually give on average in their careers. It's usually an indication of there's no cohesion in the offense. Like it's just disjointed pieces. There's really no, which leads to bad decision making, leads to passes that shouldn't ever be attempted, stuff like that. So some of that is happening. Right, the Wizards shot 23 more shots than the Brooklyn Nets in the game, and they got 20 more points off of turnovers, and that kind of sealed the game. That was the ball game. Minus that, Brooklyn come out on top. Why were they able to give up? Why were they able to get 23 more shots than the Brooklyn Nets? Because the Brooklyn Nets gave 28 turnovers, and they just fed the ball and did nothing on the glass. Their rebounding is atrocious, which is surprising when you have DeAndre Jordan, whose really his only skill is rebounding. To the extent where Chris Paul's greatest achievement in his career is probably making DeAndre look like an all NBA player when all he can do is rebound, right? So it's surprising, right? Their rebounding is bad. Their defense looks disjointed, but they're giving away way too many second chance points, a lot more than they're getting anyway. So rebounding is bad on both ends of the floor. Not enough offensive, not enough defensive. And then there's the turnovers. You can't turn over the ball so many times, especially when you have woes in defense. Your transition defense is atrocious. Your set defense, half-court defense is atrocious. I think that's really where the problem lies. And this was something that we were wondering early on, right? Kevin Durant's back, yes. As a shooter, we know he can shoot. Is he going to be the same level of defender? Surprisingly, yes. So far, he's not really been that bad. But as a team, they just don't seem to be able to figure things out. Am I surprised in a team coached by Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni? Is this the first D'Antoni team we've seen that can't defend? Not even close. Right, but they've got to get it together. They're going to get butchered even before the playoffs at this rate. Now, this is a team that we don't really expect them to be an under 500 team. But if this is how it goes, they're going to get killed by more than one team in the East in the playoffs.
One thing that's surprising about the Nets is the kind of losses that they've been in, right? They beat the big teams. They beat Warriors. Okay, not so much of a big team, but they kind of lost to the Hornets. They lost to Hawks, and now they lost to Wizards. So 3 teams who are not really fancy to be in the playoff, they're losing to them.
Yeah.
So how will it be when they face the kinds of
it's
big
insane.
teams
Like
the
the
Celtics and the Bucks and all of that?
The Hawks at least got a lot stronger, and they have shooters, and they're in a good position too in the East. Charlotte and Wizards, they don't beat anyone, and they're beating the Nets. That's troublesome. It could be a case of teams rising to the occasion. You see this often. mediocre teams that play out of their skin when they're playing a superstar because everyone wants to get, bring their A game. It could be that. It could be complacency. Who knows? Steve Nash is the one who needs to have these answers because right now it's too early to see patterns develop. The only patterns that we see developing are this team's miserable at rebounding. Whatever they're doing, it's not enough. This team's defense is far too reliant on individuals making clutch plays or reads on the spot and really not built on a solid foundation of systems and team play. Doesn't seem like it. And then on top of all this, if you're going to turn over the ball 20 times a game, you're going to lose. It's going to be as simple as that. How bad is Dinwiddie's loss impacting this? Which is another question that is on a lot of people's minds. Not that much because the problem isn't on the offensive glass. And last I checked, Dinwiddie wasn't an elite defender by any stretch. So I still don't see how any of this is affecting their defense. Why DeAndre Jordan and Jarrett Allen suddenly don't seem to be able to compete on cleaning the glass. Their problems are a lot more fundamental than a player missing or a third player not turning up. Doesn't seem to be the case. It's a lot more structural. It's a lot more coach dependent than it is personnel dependent.